Alright everyone, welcome back. A lady with a carefree demeanor, overflowing smile, and the essence of purity in her words and actions. A goddess said to be the ideal girl. It is said that merely hearing one's name escape from her lips is enough to make a man tremble all over with honor and swear to protect her even at the cost of his life. However, according to a certain younger sister who once again wishes to remain anonymous, she would say that Uriali was the ultimate display of mood swings. On top of that, she was sly as well. If I keep quiet, no one will be mad, and if I don't get caught, then there is nothing wrong. Ho ho ho. And yet, she would feel just as guilty later. That's the impish, cowardly second sister. Unlike Medusa, they liked humans very much. They welcomed the men who visited their island, comforted them, and sent them on a new adventure. But even that was a gigantic trap. They loved everything pretty and cute, freely and unconditionally. Indeed, these two devils did love humans. However, what they loved was not simply humans as living beings, but rather toying with the people they liked, embarrassing and driving them to their ruin. In short, watching them struggle. They loved them more than life itself.
姉様、それは姉様たちが無条件で嫌う醜いものだと思うのですが。
呆れた。取り返しのつかないほど趣味が悪いのね、メデューサ。いいこと？綺麗なものがこの上なく無様に踊る。それが本当の美しさというものよ。
Hence, many brave men became the sisters' sacrifice. The heroes who came seeking to court them were met with impossible demands and went back to their countries weeping. Alas, the terrifying devilish three sisters. Some went to challenge the she-monster Medusa to gain fame and were petrified. Others went to seek the hand of the goddess in marriage and ended up ridiculed beyond all reason until they met their death. O brave warriors, if there are men amongst you, they shall do well to leave this place. This is the island at the utmost end of the world, an evil paradise inhabited by women of peerless beauty. Look pal, I'm telling you for your own good, just don't ever get involved with a goddess. This island practically exists to teach you this lesson, you know? And that is the rough summary of the story behind the Temple of Darkness. A peaceful afternoon without any challengers, which was quite rare. As part of the daily ritual, Medusa is being picked on by the two older sisters again.
まあ、私からも逃げようとしてたの？私に何をしたのか、まずは話を聞きたいわ。
Medusa is caught between the two sisters, each a spitting image of the other. Unlike Medusa, who matures slowly but surely, her older sisters remain forever the same. Since the basics of their personalities are the same, they sense the same things as well. Far surpassing telepathy, they are more like two parts of the same body, each of them feeling everything the other does.
そう。私に逆らったのね、あなた。私に2度も逆らったことになるわね。ええ、私への侮辱は私への侮辱だから。じゃあ私と私がお仕置きをしてあげないと。もちろん妹を押し付けるのは姉の義務であり権利であり有楽だもの。
Solemnly, Uriali turns to a statue standing beside Medusa, a slim and tall warrior raising a huge sword overhead.
顔もまあまあ整ってるし、これがいいかしら。
Holding onto the man's armor, she pulls herself up with all her strength as if trying to tear the pieces off.
下姉様。
Flexing her short limbs, Uriali steadily climbs up the man's body.
下姉様、危ないからやめないと。
メドゥーサ、これはお仕置きです。あなたは動かないように。
はい。
Like a slithering serpent, with slow and steady movements, she flows towards the top of the statue. Not able to take her eyes off Euryale, Medusa feels as if all of her own limbs are entangled by a snake, unable to even twitch.
絶景絶景。誰かを見下ろすっていうのはこんなに気持ちがいいものなのね。ええ、浅はかなメドゥーサが増長するのもやる方ないのかもしれません。
では私はお許しいただけるのでしょうか。
メデューサ、物覚えの悪いあなたのことだからもう一度だけ命令してあげるわ。いい？絶対に避けちゃダメよ。
Her small body dances in the air, which is hardly surprising given that she is Euryale, the far flyer. The flying goddess leaps towards Medusa's snow-white neck, grins wide, opens her mouth and bares her fangs, and then delivers an evil kiss. Ah, that's why she's terrified of Ilia. Except Ilia doesn't bite you. A battle cry that punches through the skin and pierces the blood vessels below. The sweet music of smacking lips, a dancing tongue, and slurping sounds following. And then a blood-curdling scream from Medusa. One wonders what those who came to know of her later would think if they saw her like this. Preying not on individuals, but on an entire city, the demon Medusa sucked the blood of hundreds of people in one night. To think that she was being treated the same by this cute little girl.
姉様、痛いです。あとくすぐったい。
いいざま。妹の分際で姉を見下ろしているのが気に入らなかったのよ。
The tall woman trembles in fear and the cute little girl clings tightly onto her.
私だけというのは片手落ちかしらね。
God, I feel bad for her. Stand up from the back of Pegasus licks her lips.
Eh?
This reminded me of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
おとなしくしなさいメデューサ。痛いのは抵抗するからですよ。
Her blood plundered from both sides of her nape, Medusa is entranced, standing stock still. Like an endless bout of anemia. It is no longer screams that she lets out. The noises now resemble the creaking of some broken mechanism.
妹ってなんてグズで横着で短慮でボンクラのくせになんて血だけはこんなに美味しいのかしら。
お許しください、お姉様。
The two sucking sounds weave in each other in melodious harmony, echoing within the temple. Part of the daily ritual, the youngest sister is being disciplined by the mean sisters today. It shall be said again, that is not a rare occurrence in this island.
あれ
As I come to, I find myself at the storehouse. The sunlight is now considerably lower. Has it been a whole hour already?
変だな。何してたんだっけ俺たち。
I tilt my head.
何って私は素人ライダーが土蔵に入ったからこっそり後をつけて。あれ
Ilia also tilts her head. Ryder frowns deeply.
どうしたライダー、頭痛かというか、どうしてたんだっけ俺たち。
いえ、 特別なことは何も。単にシローがもう少し背が高ければいいという希望を口にしていただけです。
ああ、
I clapped my hands together. Yeah, we did talk about something like that, didn't we? However, if that's the case, then what is bike number 2 doing at Ryder's feet?
ライダー、その転がってる2号のことだけど。
さあ、2号車がなぜここに放置されているか、私は全く関知していませんから。そうですよね、シロー。
Oh, okay.
ああ、そうだよな。ライダーはここに立ち寄っただけだもんな。2号は
Despite my mind still being a bit foggy up to that point, with Ryder's gaze fixed on me, I start to feel like there's nothing else to it.
ええ、きっとシローがこれから修理するために持ってきたのでしょう。
Ah, the power of mystic eyes.
私からの要求はありませんが、メンテナンスをするというのならペダル周りとフレームの強化をしてください。タイヤは全く問題ありませんので。それでは私はこれで失礼します。それとイリアスフィール、元気なのは微笑ましいのですが、あなたのような幼い少女には高いところは似合いません。似合いませんので、間違っても土蔵の2階からダイブだけはしないように。
変なライダー。私頼まれたってそんなことしないのに。
結構です。イリアスフィールは物分かりが良くていい。
After seeing her pass, it's so weird to see her so quiet and subtle.
それでは夕食に。
Flashing an adult-like smile, Ryder leaves the storehouse. Fascinated by the back of the cool adult-like figure, I see her off in a daze. The stylish woman hits her head and crouches down in pain.
ライダー、
ご心配なく。それとシロー、このように背が高くていいことなどあまりないのです。
Tottering, Ryder disappears towards the courtyard. I see. Being tall is unexpectedly troublesome, huh? That was quite an interesting tale. I like that. Hang around Emiya residence. Uh-oh, Ryder's turn. Holy Grail. You already seen this scene. Skip. The violet snake laps up the blood. 3 a.m. Tonight, another one-sided slaughter has begun. As always, the stage is empty. Miyama's residents are fast asleep in their homes. The means change from one moment to the next. Skewered by enormous nail-like daggers. Hang from the streetlights. Crushed by coiling chains. Occasionally, she goes too far and tears them to pieces. On a whim, she catches one in her hand and crushes its head. There are a great variety of methods. Emulating a comic she recently read, she lifts a large vehicle and flattens them beneath it. By chance, there just happened to be one in a nearby construction site. While stopping to catch her breath, she considers whether to head back or keep going. Her objective, if she remembers correctly, is to investigate this anomaly. The restarted Holy Grail War. In order to seek out the cause behind it, she's been running rampant through the streets at night. Her efforts yield some limited success. Another servant has been keeping watch in Shinto, but has never found any clues. However, there is one major difference between her and the other servants. The monsters prowling the city at night. No one should have noticed them until the final day, but she had perceived them right from the start. To root out whatever was behind them, she would sneak out of the house by herself and continue her investigations on one corpse at a time. There's no particular emotion driving her. When doing something out of no special interest, her body moves on its own. She becomes a machine without feeling, carrying out a predetermined task. Thus she finds these moonlit hunts neither intriguing nor tedious instead of classifying it as an ordinary chore. A fruitless, unending endeavor. A task neither boring nor exciting. She'll attempt it again and again until it yields results. Nevertheless, since when did the hunt itself become the anomaly, she wondered. She controls her ragged breathing. Her self-appointed duty was completed after about half an hour. No, it was more like she couldn't help but complete it. No matter how much she wants to investigate, there is no material left. A red sea of carnage. She cannot find anything to distinguish from that. There is nothing left to analyze. She needs to examine each of her prey diligently, down to the eye sockets, but there are none left. She controls her ragged breathing. Though indeed monsters, they are little more than trash when up against her. A mere 100 or 200 wouldn't even serve as a warm-up. And yet she controls her ragged breathing. Letting out what seemed like pain gasps, she decides to continue the investigation. One more. I'll just check one more. Persuading herself of this, she jumps to the next hunting ground. There's a horde of roughly 100 monsters. After examining tens of thousands of them, she knew that answers would not be found here, and yet she continues with the massacre in the name of research. Without feeling, she mechanically bathes in blood. Her breathing begins to quicken again. One more. I just want to examine one more. There's nothing wrong with that. After all, the only ones dying are monsters. There are countless more to kill, and this is something she had decided to do. So she doesn't feel there's any problem or meaning. Me and ing in what she is doing. After all, they are the bad ones. If they didn't want to be killed, then they shouldn't have appeared. And yet they gush out in huge numbers like insects, forcing her to take them on. She wants to be left alone, but she has no choice other than to oppose them. That's right. In the very beginning, she really didn't want to do this. But there were other things that were important. That's why she kept her role. Still, because it was just too unpleasant, she decided to become something unlike a living creature when she worked. A simple trap that kills people.
メデューサどこに行ったの？もう戻ってくる時間でしょ？
She heard that after one of her countless tasks.
ほら、早く出てきなさい。私が素敵な贈り物をいただいたのよ。今日は特別にあなたにも分けてあげるわ。
As always, she became a trap for the humans that tried to take away her sisters by force.
嫌な匂いね。メデューサ、そこにいるの？
They are not petrified. Those bodies were.
メデューサ、あなた、そこで何をしているの？
Oh. The hunched figure slurping flinched. I don't want to remember. Back then, her sister's eyes, which always radiated with joy, turned stark white with fear towards her. The feast in the name of her investigation continues. Each time she plays this part, her body grows more accustomed to its role. Her ferocity grows without end. These monsters, while stronger than humans, could never touch her. They are fodder, worthy only to be crushed underfoot. She feels her transmission shift gear by gear, from low to middle, middle to high. The only issue, if any, is that there is no limit to her gearbox. Meaning, the question is whether her chassis can withstand the ever-increasing RPM. Why has she become so immersed in her role? It must be because the enemy is so weak and the setting so ideal that she's given such priority to this task despite herself, she thinks. After all, the town is empty. The people vanish at the stroke of midnight. Perhaps they were all killed by the monsters, or perhaps they never existed to begin with. must be the latter. Those monsters are things that hunt down humans, but not once has she seen them kill anyone. They only act against those that are the same as them. These monsters only feel interest or hatred towards their fellow monsters. Hence, she is taken by surprise. With the monsters present, she thought there wouldn't be any people around. So when a young woman appears wandering aimlessly into the park, though she knew it was human with a single glance, she slices through the woman without any hesitation. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that woman have a freaking face hugger inside her? Her regrets and confusion fade immediately. This was always a ghost town. So what if a human wandered in by mistake? Even if she didn't kill her, the monster surely would have. So it is fine. That was a trivial, inconsequential mistake that won't happen again, she thinks with a sigh.
よくはないわ。あなたがどのような生き物で、これがどのような状況であろうとも、あなたは人を殺したのよ。
The dead woman's mouth proclaims her sin with a voice like a song. She stands up. Blood pours out from the open wound. She clutches her throat. Her ragged breath begs for oxygen. The sight makes her dizzy with vertigo. Ah, what a sweet smell. The delicious red essence of life which she couldn't find no matter where she looked or how many monsters she killed.
こらえが効かないのね。我慢できないのなら、どうぞ好きにして結構よ。だって、そうしたくて真っ先に人間である私に襲いかかったのでしょ。
That voice pierces her heart. That's right. There's still a flood of monsters, and yet she ignored those which are her objects of investigation and hurled her dagger at the girl. She shakes her head in denial. Her dirty hair sways like snakes. Desperately, she objects, claiming it was an accident, completely outside of her duty.
別の役割。あなたも異常を解明したいというの？大した欺瞞ね。あなたはこれっぽっちも町のことなんて考えていないくせに。
Her heart is sliced through, its contents exposed. That's right, she doesn't give a damn about the peace of this city. This investigation is carried out only for the sake of her master.
ああ、立派なサーバントね。けど、これは本当に彼女のためになるのかしら。
The air turns to poison. The woman approaches her step by step. Not with her legs, but her words. Approaching not her body, but her heart. She's trying to knock down the last pillar remaining in her broken self.
何日も繰り返して、いい加減疲れたでしょ。ここで楽にしてあげる。正直、見ている私も飽き飽きしてきたところだし。
She throws her dagger towards the flapping lips. Her aim is perfect. It skewers the girl's tongue and splatters even more of her blood. But even then,
認めなさい、メドゥーサ。あなたは本当は恨んでいる。
excuse me, a grudge against humans.
あなたは本当は楽しんでいる。
Enjoying killing people.
あなたは単に
Don't need a reason at all.
大切だという彼女以上にこっちの方が大切なのよ。
The girl's still standing. The purple snakes are gradually blackened by her gushing blood.
機械に徹したところで奪った命の重さは変わらない。目を伏せたところで亡くなった命は消え去らない。蓋を閉めたまま生きていたらいつか自分の中身さえ間違えてしまう。
She is an eyesore. No matter who this human is, she is just an eyesore. So she kills her until she shuts up. She cuts open the girl's warm stomach and tears out the entrails. She almost shouts out in joy. More than any human she had hands on before, taking out her anger on this girl feels so good. She continues to mutilate the girl's body from the stomach outward, until only the head is left. Surely the chatter will stop now. Relief gushes through her body, and just when she feels a slight tinge of regret that she can't kill anymore,
これで理解できたでしょ。あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
at last, she realizes her true feelings. She has an unendurable desire to kill humans. Once upon a time, there was a princess. One day, the people who had loved the princess started hating her, and they sent her off to an island far, far away. Compared to her glorious life up until then, the island was very empty. Frightened by the people who had gotten angry at her without reason, the princess prayed that no one would come to the island. Still, she was very, very lonely. She wept and wondered what she had done wrong.
メドゥーサは一人になるとすぐ泣き出すでしょ。私たちの親族としてそんな恥さらしは許しません。
After a short time, her elder sisters arrived at the island.
私はメデューサなんてどうでもいいんだけど、まあ召使いは必要だし。
How wonderful. Although they were still loved by all, the princess's sisters moved there for her sake. The princess was not lonely anymore. Although the island still had nothing, she was happy because her sisters were there with her. The only things left to fear were humans. Kill, kill, kill the monster. With great courage, they came to chase the princess away. Snatch, 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 snatch the goddesses away. She could have borne if that had been all, but then the people began to point their swords at her two sisters. To protect her sisters, the princess decided to take revenge. Oh, how wonderful. Yes, this time she could just do to the humans as they had done to her. She killed many humans. Oh. After all, even if she tried to escape, the princess had nowhere to go but the island. I don't want anybody to come. I don't want anybody to come. She had always wanted to be left alone in peace and with her sisters, but...
やめなさい、メデューサ。挑みに来た人間たちが命を落とすのは自業自得でしょ。けれど、それを娯楽にしてはいけないわ。
Yet still they came, one after another. But there was no end to them. She started experimenting with new ways to eliminate them more quickly. When the trap had devised proved effective, she found it a tad funny.
あなたの魔眼は戒めるためのもの。決して恐怖を与えるものではないのです。
But it was only right that those who had done nothing but scold the princess thus far should come to fear her as well.
それを口にするのはやめなさい。私が近頃のあなたは恐ろしいと怯えているわ。
No matter how infamous and fearsome she became, the humans kept approaching with boundless ferocity. The sisters continued to scold the princess. The princess felt too ashamed to show her body that had changed shape a little, and she left the sisters she once dearly loved. In the end, she was alone again. Sad and lonely, she hungered for new sacrifices. Come to think of it, in the beginning, we were the sacrifices. She laughed, bathed in red. That's quite the twist. She swings her daggers with delight. Cackling with scorn, she tramples them beneath her. Without rest or respite, she continues running as if fleeing something. She feels giddy with each one she crushes, giddy with disgust, giddy with amusement. Before long, her captivation intensifies into wild passion. Before she realizes it, she was butchering the monsters in a frenzy. She doesn't want to think about anything, so she can't help but let her primal instincts take over and enjoy the hunt.